When to hold them and when to fold them, that is the question. And in creative ventures and businesses, it's one of the hardest ones to answer when it comes up. When do you quit? When do you stop pushing? When do you throw in the towel? And when is it really just something you need to keep on going with? Give it a little more time. There's no clear answer or formula, unfortunately. There's no magical checklist, but there are some questions you can ask yourself and some gut checks that will help to give you a lot of clarity on whether or not it's time to keep going or you need to throw in the towel. And I'm talking about tools, platforms, services, products, collaborators, maybe even your business entirely. Welcome to Small Business Casual, the podcast for business owners building something sustainable, cozy, and tailored to their actual lives, not just their Google calendars. I'm your host, Emily Aborn, small business copywriter, lifelong learner, and Jeopardy contestant. From my sofa, of course. I'm here to walk alongside you as we make sense of the behind-the-scenes chaos and trade those stuffy business suits for our favorite slippers. Hello. Hi. How are ya? Welcome back to Small Business Casual. If you've been following along this whole month in our little series, you know that we're talking about the real and the raw, the behind the scenes of business. I warned you we were going into the unspeakable zone, and today, here we are, the unspeakable of all unspeakables, giving up, quitting, throwing in the towel. But I just want to actually start there with the word quitting, okay? We're going to get very clear on something together. Quitting is neither good nor bad. In fact, it is simply redirection. Pushing through is not always the right answer. It is certainly not some more noble or holier than thou. Sometimes pushing through is actually driven by our ego or being driven by the wrong reasons entirely. So it's unfair when people say, oh, they quit, or oh, they tapped out, or oh, they threw in the towel. Like it's just some inevitably bad thing. Because sometimes it's actually a really good thing, and it's one of the smartest decisions that you can make. The real question we should be asking, a far more interesting and more curious and more important question, is why am I quitting? Why do I want to quit? And that is what we're getting into today. If we have not met yet, I'm Emily Aborn. I'm a small business copywriter and marketing consultant. And what you may or may not know about me is that I have been in business for over the last 12 years. I've had 3 businesses, and actually I've quit 2. I also quit my first podcast. I also have quit many collaborations, many memberships, other things that were not what I wanted for my life, or aligned, or strategic, or profitable, or yada, yada, yada. So I kind of want to bring you that perspective. And we're going to start small today, and we'll wade our way into the deeper stuff. We're going to start with tools. When to quit using tools. There are a lot of digital tools out there, and with those usually come cha-ching, subscriptions. And with subscriptions, I already spoiled it. With subscriptions come cash, fees, right? So my question for myself is always, do I really need all of these tools? Which tools do I want to hold and which tools do I want to fold? So some examples of what I mean by tools in our businesses are like Dubsado and also creative ventures like podcasts. Dubsado or Honeybook, those would be like client management portals. Then we've got the social media platforms, right? And then we've got the project management tools like Asana or ClickUp or Notion. We've got the email providers like MailChimp or whatever. We've got the other things, the creative tools like Canva, Otter AI, Riverside, Buzzsprout. The list goes on and on and on. At least, well, mine does. So how to know if a tool is kind of like it's time to just take your money and run and drop the tool. Number 1, it is draining. It is draining you or your bank account more than it's helping you. So a lot of times I find if I'm just constantly, every time I go use it, if I'm just wrestling with it more than I'm actually using it, if it's making my work harder and not easier, it's usually a good indicator that I need to find something else or I don't actually need it. If I've genuinely tried to make it work, I've watched the tutorials, I've asked for help, I've given it a fair shot, that's when it's not just like a learning curve issue. It's that this does not fit for my brain or my business issue. And it can become very, very draining. Same with your bank account. If you're paying for it more than how you're than you're using it or than it's helping you, it may be a sign that it's time to take your money and run. Second sign is that your needs have actually changed in your business. What worked for us in year 1 does not always work for us in year 5. You have outgrown it. Your business has simplified or you need less. That's actually happened to me with using Otter AI. I don't really use it anymore because now I have other tools that can replace it, and I've just kind of outgrown what I was using it for. Third thing is that the ROI isn't there. So either the time return on investment or the money return on investment. Maybe that means you're paying for features you don't use. Maybe the platform is not delivering what it is promised you, but there is no return on investment. And number 4, if it is keeping you from something better. So if something else can do the job just as well or better, if switching would genuinely improve your workflow or your sanity or your business. I recently had a colleague share with me that she switched from Dubsado to HoneyBook because it definitely increases her sanity in her business. Another example would be my recent switch from MailChimp to Substack. Substack could do the job just as well, if not better. I was able to add even more kind of things to my emails that I was wanting to do. So if the tool is keeping you from something better, it may be time to drop it. Signs to push through: you're maybe just scared of the learning curve, or you need to get support on how to use it. So maybe it's new, maybe it's different, but it's not actually bad. You haven't given it enough time yet. And so it can be like, nope, I have to give this a little more time. I have to get help or support on how to use this. But it doesn't mean it's time to drop it entirely. If everybody else is leaving the tool, you don't have to, okay? Herd mentality is not a strategy. What works for them might not apply to you. So just because everybody else is leaving Instagram and headed over to TikTok or doing YouTube shorts instead of Facebook groups or whatever does not mean you have to be doing it too. So that might be a sign that you just need to keep doing what you're doing until, it proves otherwise. And the last way you can know that you might need to keep on going with it is if you're just in the middle, right? You're just in the messy middle. You've invested the time and the money, and it's like at that phase where it's almost working, which I find at this stage can be so frustrating and so very messy. But it usually does mean that you're close, and you just need to make some small tweaks and improvements and fix things. And then you are going to be on your way to that tool really helping you out. All right, we're going to go a level deeper. We're going to talk about when to throw in the towel on like a membership or a book club or a course that you're subscribed to or a mastermind or a community or a group. This one can be a little harder because not only are there a lot of people at play here, there may be relationships where you don't want to offend somebody, or will they still be your friend if you leave, right? But there's just more kind of things to consider. So some signs that it might be time to quit is if you're just simply not using it. If you can't remember the last time you logged in or logged on, don't fall for that. I should be using it as the reason that you're staying. And that might apply more to like a course or a membership or something like that. But if you can't remember the last time you used the thing or were part of the thing, you probably don't need to stay. If it is no longer serving your season, again, what we talked about with the tools, what you needed 6 months ago, what you needed a year ago, what you needed when you started your business may not be what you need now. We are meant to evolve and change and grow and learn from new experts and up level and new places, and that is totally okay. The amount of times I have struggled with, should I unfollow this podcaster, right? But I had to let it go because it was no longer serving my season, and that is totally okay. I struggle sometimes with even knowing when to throw in the towel on something as simple as a podcast. Number 3 sign that it is time to quit is that the value just isn't there anymore. Sometimes this is actually because something has shifted or changed. Sometimes the content is just not relevant for you anymore, or the support has dropped off, or it hasn't dropped off, but it's just not enough for you. You need more value, and that is okay. And then the 4th reason it might be a sign it's time to quit is if it's creating guilt for you instead of spurring on growth. If every time you see that charge come through on your credit card, you feel guilty for not using it, that has its own drain. I've been there, but that might be a sign it's time to drop it. And then signs to push through. I just got 2 of these for you. If you're just overwhelmed right now, I would say pause. Or hold on your decision. The membership or subscription may still be good. You may just be in a real busy season. You can maybe sometimes pause what you're subscribed to. That might be a better option than quitting, but I would just give it a moment, right? Because sometimes we're not able to give something a real chance. And that's sign number 2 that it's time to push through if you haven't given it a real chance. If you signed up last month and you expect like immediate transformation, or, you're signed up in 1 month in, you're like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, right? Give it a little time. Some things take time to integrate. All right. Ready to go a level deeper? We're going to talk about how to know whether or not you should throw in the towel on your own services or products. We're getting to the depth here. I know somebody who is recently considering retiring a course that she offered. She was like, should I retire it completely or switch it to another platform? Discontinue it or just move it over? Get rid of it or relocate it? So how she kind of worked through it on her own, signs that it might be time for you to quit, drop the service, drop the product, is number 1, it's draining you. It's either draining you emotionally or physically or financially. If you dread delivering it, again, I've been there. If it takes more energy than it's worth, than it's compensating you for, or if the profitability just is not there, right? If you're making apple cider vinegar and you have to charge $20 a bottle because the bottle cost you, $19, that's not going to be a great profit margin for you. Sign number 2 that it might be time to throw in the towel on it is your market or your customers have changed. They're just not asking for that thing anymore. Their needs have evolved. You are attracting a different kind of client. So sometimes the market and our customers actually change. And then it's like, why am I even offering this? I've done that a lot of times as well with content banks. I used to create these vast content bank libraries, and people just weren't asking for them anymore. And the needs changed. The way the whole kind of content structure of the internet changed. Sign number 3, you've outgrown it. Maybe your expertise has deepened, right? You've gotten better at what you do. You want to focus on higher value, higher level work, and having this product or service, it's just not really aligned with where your business is headed. And then number 4, kind of along the same vein, it's keeping you from something better. So maybe you can't say yes to the right work because you're stuck delivering this old work, right? Signs to push through. You are just bored. Boredom, it can be a sign of misalignment, but it's not always misalignment. It's not the same as misalignment. So check in. It's okay to quit if you're bored. It probably means you're meant to be doing more or something different. But sometimes what I have found is boring pays the bills. It's not sexy, but it's okay sometimes. Okay, so sometimes it's like, I don't love doing it, but it's fine. It's fine. And that is okay. If you haven't actually marketed it well, I have a VIP copywriting day. And I have done a terrible job of marketing it. In fact, I haven't even told anybody about it. I think you might be the first to know right now. So if I were to throw in the towel on that would be a bad decision because I haven't even tested it. So low sales doesn't mean it's a bad offer. It just might mean nobody actually even knows about it. And then third reason to maybe kind of consider pushing through is you're comparing to somebody else's business. So maybe somebody else, maybe a different copywriter retired that service. So then I think I should too, right? But their business, not my business. Somebody else's business, not your business. If somebody else is retiring something or getting rid of something, or once again, with that herd mentality, does not mean you have to do it. Okay, now the deepest, darkest, depths of them all. We need some music for this one. When do you know whether or not you should throw in the towel on your business entirely? Audience gasps. The big one, the hardest one. Well, guess what? I have no idea. Just kidding. I think you and only you genuinely know the answer to this one. But I will share some indicators. It might be time to quit or pivot significantly, okay? Because I have been through this. Number one, it is draining you in every single way. And I'm talking physically, emotionally, financially, mentally. You've got nothing else to give, right? You've tried to fix it and nothing is working. And so therefore that cost is just too high. And it's not just the money cost I'm talking about everything. It is draining you in every way. Sign number 2, you have genuinely tried. You have done the work. This was not a 1 week long experiment. You've given it time. You've given it effort. You've given it your strategy. You've given it your pivots. You've gotten help. You've ridden the roller coaster. And now you're honest with yourself and you're like, I have done the work. I have genuinely tried and it is just not taking. Sign number 3, your gut's like, nope, this is not it. And I'm not talking about being afraid because we're all afraid of what we're doing over here. I'm talking about a deep knowing that you're just not into this anymore, or it's not your path anymore, or it's not for you. And that is totally okay. Remember, quitting is not a bad or good thing. It is just a redirection. Sign number 3, the marketing or the timing is not right, and it's not looking like it's going to be right anytime soon. There are definitely times, I think, in business and creative ventures where we have to get very clear and honest about the external factors that we cannot control. The landscape outside of us is constantly shifting, and sometimes modern times, they de-relevantize our ideas. They make our ideas less relevant or less viable. And so, yes, we can pivot and we can try to keep up, and at the end of the day, if we're unwilling to shift alongside the market, it might have to require us to call it quits. That is kind of what happened in my first business, where we were selling something inside of a retail shop that was sort of being taken over by the internet at that time. And it was like really, really hard to compete and keep up with that in the market space we were in. Sign number 4, it is keeping you from something better. You know when you got that feeling that there is just another path calling you, and you feel like, staying where you are is blocking that door or keeping you from playing bigger or achieving more of your potential. That might be a sign that it is time to let it go, time to pivot, time to move on. And then lastly, if you just don't want it anymore, if you're like, you know what, this was fun, but I'm not into it anymore, that is okay. Wanting something different for yourself, walking away, no matter how long it took you to build it, walking away is not a failure. So I also want to give us some reminders of when we just need to consider pushing through, because it's easy to confuse the two. I think especially with something so big and so scary, right? It's hard to know what is fear and what is my intuition. So 5 signs you need to just keep on pushing through or think about pushing through. 1, you're just scared. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, yada, yada, yada is par for the course. Running a business is scary, but that does not mean that it is not working. It does not mean that your next step is not the right step, okay? If you're just scared of what you're doing, spoiler alert, welcome to business. Number 2, you're in the messy middle, or a dip, or a slow period. And this is really hard, but it's important to learn for yourself and your own business when you are quitting too soon, when it's just about to all kind of click or pick up again. Now, we'll all notice as we experience our journeys, we all ride these waves and bumps, and we kind of go through dips and seasons, and learning to read these patterns and ebbs and flows, that's part of the fun. So sometimes if you're just in a messy part or in a slow period or in a dip, you might think you want to quit for sure, but it might not be a sign that it's time to throw in the towel and quit. Along those lines, number 3, you haven't given it enough time. Impatience That's not data. Some things take longer than we think. And what I know from running a business is that it takes infinitely longer than I think. There is pretty much no overnight success. So don't believe the gurus on the internet. A lot of things take a lot of time and consistency and intention and slow growth. Number 4, and I really want you to hear this one. If you believe in something deep down, it's not like stubborn, right? But you're like, I genuinely believe in this. And hopefully you have supportive people in your life who are believing it for you and with you too. But if that mission still so deeply matters to you, if you know that this work still lights you up and you need to be doing this, you keep on going. You keep on pushing through because and start looking for those resources and those support in other areas, because I believe that is a sign that you're not done yet. Your work is not done yet. And then lastly, if there are small signs of traction, even if it's slow, that is a sign that there is movement and that the foundation is there. It just needs time. Again, impatience is not data. Things take so much longer than we think. So it doesn't matter how great or small the thing is that you're considering quitting or giving up on or tossing in the towel on. It doesn't matter. The questions I want us to ask ourselves are, am I quitting because it's hard or because it's not right for me? Have I actually given this a fair shot? I love using the rule of 3 for this. And if you haven't heard about my rule of 3, I either give things 3 chances, 3 days, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 years, whatever I picked for an opportunity. That's how many chances I give something. So ask yourself, have I given this a fair shot? Have I given it 6 months? Have I given it a year, right? What would I do? Question number 3, what would I do if I stopped? Is it a better thing or is it just different? Is it a down, am I stepping down or what am I kind of doing here? So what would I do if I stopped? It's a real, you may not know the answer to it yet, but it's a real question to ask yourself. Number 4, what is my gut or my inner voice, whatever you call it? I just call it my quiet mind, like the mind that is not spiraling and panicking. What does my quieted mind say? What does my quieted mind say? Number 5, what would I tell a friend in this exact situation? And maybe your advice to your friend is just take a walk, take a break, take a day off, right? What would I tell a friend in this exact situation? Am I staying because I believe in this or because I am afraid of what people will think of me? Am I staying because I believe in it or because I'm afraid of what people will think of me? That's number 6. And then, is this my dream? Is this really my dream or is this somebody else's dream for me? That's number 7. Here is what I know to be true. Quitting, as I said, it's not good or bad. It doesn't erase what you built. Okay? It doesn't erase anything that you built before. Pivoting is not some indication of failure. Even if you did sheerly and utterly fail, yay. I say yay you because you tried. No one else is caring or judging the way you are. Failure is part of learning what we want and how we want to get there. I have tried and I have failed in a gazillion and 10 exact number ways. And I've lived to tell about every single one of them thus far. I know the same about you. You are resilient. Failure is part of learning and you will land on your feet. And I think sometimes we also need to realize that the actual most courageous step is not always pushing through. Sometimes the most courageous step is walking away. And sometimes that bravest step is staying. And only you can know which one you are doing. But I do encourage us to all take a step towards courage, no matter which path you choose. And I don't think if you're doing that, you can go wrong. So often throwing in the towel, walking away, saying bye, letting go, it's not actually giving up. It's actually making space. It's making space for bigger, better, more aligned. And in my opinion, you are always allowed to change your mind about I have struggled with this my whole life, not wanting people to see me change my mind, but we are always allowed to change our mind, and we will always be changing our mind about little things like tools, platforms, services, products, but also about big things like our whole business and our life. So I'm going to leave you there, but this is a perfect tie-in, actually, to where I want to take you next month. We're going to be talking all about experimentation in the month of May. That is one of my favorite ways to know if something is for me or not, and I love just like trying it and seeing what it tells you and teaches you and moving forward from there. So make sure to join me in the month of May. It's also Podiversary month and birthday month, and it's going to be so super fun and exciting. So on that note, I will chat with you then. Thanks for joining me on this week's episode of Small Business Casual. If you love the show, make sure to rate, review, and share it with a frazzled business owner that you care about. Because this shouldn't feel like a roller coaster ride, more like a scenic train ride with snacks. Don't forget those snacks.